Hi course students, so I have another video to review with you today. This one was on your colloquialism, slang, and jargon assignment. So I wanted to make sure that I reviewed the answers that you were supposed to get for each one of them, and also make sure that you fully understand what colloquialism, slang, and jargon are. A basic way to understand colloquialisms is essentially it's just informal language. Most people should understand what you're trying to say through colloquial language. And it's not particular to one type of group. So colloquial language is often understood throughout age groups, especially, you should be able to have a conversation with your mom using colloquial language and she should be able to understand it. That makes it different from slang because slang is even less formal than colloquial language and oftentimes uses expressions that are only pertain to one particular group. So a lot of times there'll be slang terms that you understand that your parents might not understand or your grandparents might understand, and so on and so forth. And then jargon is always particular to one particular trade or profession. A lot of times medical industry and the law industry uses a lot of jargon in their speeches and their education and their conversations with fellow colleagues. My brain kind of drifted away for a second there, but I got it again. So that's the difference between colloquialisms, slang, and jargon. So let's actually look at your practices for this assignment. So you had to identify whether each phrase is a colloquialism, slang, or jargon, and then either circle, highlight, or underline the words that make it a colloquialism, a slang, or a jargon. So I think I took some of these out for the practice that you did, but most of them should be on the document that you completed, and here are the answers to review for them. So the jargon ones should have been pretty straightforward, like that first one, the one number 12, a compound prepared as a model of hemoglobin is 4.6 iron by mass. The jargon was clearly professional language that included terms that only the people of that profession would understand. So hopefully you were able to easily pick out the ones that were jargon. Now, the slang and the colloquial is where it gets a little tricky because there's certain phrases that really only pertain to one particular group of people, which make it slang, versus phrases that can be used universally throughout age groups and ethnicities and cultures for the most part, and can be understood, which makes it colloquial. So obviously number 2, that one's definitely slang. What's crackin', yo bud, those types of words. The number 4 though is colloquial, because for the most part people are going to understand over yonder means somewhere over there. So that's a colloquial term rather than a slang term. However, number 5, the word shizzle would be a slang term instead of a colloquial term. And then terms or phrases like James was looking a little blue, that's colloquial. Totes feeling all the feels today, that would be slang. Number 9, Kenneth handed her the wads of dough. That would be slang, because if you think about it, if you said that sentence to people of different age groups, especially, like if I said that to my 87-year-old grandma, she probably wouldn't understand what dough means in that context. So that's what makes it a slang term. This one up at the top, I can't believe I got to meet Taylor Swift. I was so excited I died. That one, I could say you could argue for slang or colloquialism. It is a little bit less formal. It is a very informal phrase, which I think is why it's put as slang here. But it is becoming more common in its understanding of, you died from excitement, you died from confusion or embarrassment, or any of those types of things. So I think you could argue, but it does lean more towards the slang language because it is a very informal term. The next one, she didn't want to go, but she'll have a good time when she gets there. That's colloquial because of the contractions. It's not necessarily formal language. 13, duck out. That's not slang. That would be colloquial because most people are going to understand that you ducking out of somewhere means that you're going to leave. Old Gramps would be colloquial. Most people are going to understand that means grandpa. And I realized in class that a lot of people don't know what FOMO means, which made me feel kind of old because a lot of my friends use that term. But FOMO is fear of missing out, and that would be a slang term. 17, Chris needs to contact his dad. He's been putting it off for too long. That's colloquial, not formal language, but not slang. And then, like I said, the jargon ones should have been pretty easy to identify because they are very formal and particular to a certain profession. So that's the colloquial, slang, jargon differences. Hopefully it makes more sense to you now that I've gone over the practice. However, if you are still confused, please email me and I'll be happy to review it with you or explain it a little bit further to clarify any confusion you might have. Okay, thanks for watching the video, guys, and stay tuned for the next 2 videos that you're going to have.